Welcome back, all my beautiful patriots of Ireland. Today we have another video from News Talk Radio, of course, and Pat Kenny, more specifically, the globalist. Of course, I'm a populist. These guys are all globalist propaganda pushers. This one is on Storm Éowyn, or however you pronounce that name without sounding like weird, okay? They want us to sound weird saying that name, okay? It's all a big psychological warfare. They're posing the question on News Talk today: was rural Ireland abandoned in the aftermath? I'll answer that question. Absolutely yes. 100%. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys can just click off the video right now. I've just ended the video. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Just joking. Of course, we're going to watch this video at least halfway. We'll see what the globalist, agenda-driven Pat Kenny is talking about today, guys. It's so bad, when you meet, woke people that are young. When you guys meet the 20-year-olds that are woke, but I'm in my 20s still. But when you guys meet a boomer who's woke and who's pushing this sort of agenda-driven stuff, oh my god, it's like 10 times worse. It's 10 times worse when you see somebody's dad who's talking about woke DEI stuff, climate this, agenda this. It's just like, it's so much worse. Doesn't everybody think that in Ireland when you meet somebody's parents who are like super left-wing woke? It's like 10 times worse than meeting, the younger college kid who's like all into that kind of stuff, the hippie stuff. So this one should be great. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it, guys. But yeah, we all know rural Ireland was abandoned. It is, by the way, for those who don't know, it's the 3rd of January today, okay? The shit happened on the 23rd or something like that. So literally a week and a half ago, lads. The storm, Éowyn, I'm going to call it, happened literally nearly 2 weeks ago. So, and there's still 50,000 people without electricity. An absolute joke.
Week on from Storm Éowyn, and with still over 100,000 people left without power, there's a growing frustration, some feeling that rural Ireland was abandoned by the government. Also, the government has now appointed both cabinet and junior ministers, with women hugely underrepresented in those numbers. And all of this comes on the back of Sinn Féin TD Pat Daly taking legal action against the government's increase in super junior ministers, or in fact their existence at all. Joining me now to talk about all of this for our Friday forum, Marie Sherlock, Labour TD for Dublin Central. We have the Fianna Fáil TD for Dublin Midwest, Shane Moynihan, and also we are joined by Christina Finn, political editor with the Journal. Good morning and welcome to one and all.
These are all propagandists and politically driven, paid off people, bought and paid for. Like I said, over the next 4 years, everybody follow along my journey. We're going to be dismantling RT News, Virgin Media, News Talk. They're gone, lads. They're just 100%. We're dismantling the whole entire Irish media system.
Okay, perception and reality. What about the people who feel abandoned by the government in the wake of the storm? Marie?
Yeah, look, I think, I think while most people would accept that obviously when a storm happens and there's a day or two of terrible inconvenience, the thought that there are people still stuck at home or locked out of their homes because their homes have been so badly damaged, or indeed because of electricity, I think does pose questions now for our level of preparedness. Like, the reality is that there has been an incredible effort by the ESB, by our local authorities, by other public agencies over the past week. But I suppose the reality is that they've been scrambling as well.
I don't want to sound mad, and I don't want to stop this too much. I know people say I talk too much in these videos, but I think, they just do it super slow. I think they can just press a button and all the electricity comes back on, but they do it on purpose to say, we can control you at any time we want. I just truly think that's how it is. We actually rang, because we didn't have phone signal, we actually rang ESB. Within 20 minutes, it was up and running after not having it for a full week. So was nobody ringing them or something? It was complete insanity. Insane, guys.
Like I said, we've had to have
staff
coming in.
The lads out there, and they're mostly lads, climbing up the poles and dragging generators up to water treatment plants, they're all doing a great job. It was you lot in Leinster House that let the people down by not having a preparedness.
Yeah, well, look,
absolutely. 100%.
And I think it's the government, obviously, that have to lead that preparedness. Like, the reality is that, the risk of storms in this country is increasing. Like, as in, the Met Éireann expect that we're going to have, the storms are going to increase in intensity by 20% in terms of storm.
What is this arbitrary nonsense scaremongering? The storms are going to increase in Ireland, Chris, by 20%. She just pulled that statistic out of her flipping ass, guys. I mean, it's just like she just made up that statistic. I mean, Met Éireann said that they're going to increase by 20%. What? This is all just made up nonsense. This is psychological warfare. This is scaremongering.
Storm surges with regards to coastal flooding, and of course with regards to just heavier precipitation in general. But I suppose my concern now at this stage is that we have a proper coordination in place, much stronger than what we have. Because, like, for instance, the health system is the one that I have engaged with. Like, as in, we have people in decongregated settings, those with intellectual disabilities or indeed physical disabilities, who or in ordinary houses, who have been left completely short. Like, I have 10 individuals living in camp beds over the last week and a half, over the past week, because there's been no forward planning with regards to those health needs in the community. And so, that's a level of detail.
I heard lots of stuff on air, though, about someone who can't power an electric wheelchair, someone who can't generate an oxygen supply, or whatever it is. And there's a kind of why...
Yeah, somebody left a comment on my YouTube channel, shout out to them. I think they said they're a 79-year-old man in rural Connemara that has an oxygen tank. He has COPD, he's dying, of oxygen, lung failure or whatever, and he can't, have his oxygen tank to give him oxygen to help him survive. It's unbelievable. This is a disgrace.
Aren't the ESB fixing me? Do the ESB even know about you? Do they know you have this problem? How is that to be addressed? Shane?
Whoa, hold on. This is why Pat Kenny is the dumbest presenter of all time. Do they know about you in ESB? ESB don't know about that, but the government's job is to foresee these things. They know that people have issues like that. They have autistic kids, they have this, they have life support machines, they have all this stuff that are at homes, lung capacity machines with the oxygen and all that stuff. Like, how would they not know that? How does ESB not know that? Of course they know that. What the hell what stupid guy this guy is just really low IQ. Everybody in the media that I've ever reacted to on this channel is just low IQ. Like, I'm being honest. I'm not trying to be an asshole. They're all low IQ. They have no forward thinking. How would they think that these people don't have issues? Okay, just shut the electricity off for the west of Ireland. That should be okay. Who's thinking like that?
Well, I think the first thing we have to recognise is that we need to get power and water back to as many people as possible, and that has been
look at this dumbass. Who's this guy?
Priority of the government over the last week or so. The second thing worth pointing out, which I think has been lost in the commentary a little bit, is that this was a unique weather event. We haven't seen winds.
It's Captain Obvious here. Get water and electricity back to everybody, and it was a unique weather event. Captain Obvious. Dude, it's not a unique... First of all, it's not a unique weather event. We have storms every year in Ireland. What is this guy talking about?
180 kilometres an hour in Ireland in a long, long time. So I think it's important that we remember that this was a unique weather event. Yes, we now have to start...
So on one side, the left are saying that it's a unique weather event. On the left, they're also saying that it's going to happen more frequently. Which one is it, lads? You don't even agree with each other. Oh, stop.
Think about adaptation and mitigation towards these sort of events in the future, without a doubt. But in terms of the response of government, I mean, we've seen Minister Darragh Leary leading from the front on this in particular, and the Taoiseach, $250,000 almost has been paid in humanitarian support.
But I'm surprised that, for instance, that there isn't a generator at every Uisce Éowyn facility. I'm just surprised at that. They're not that expensive, and there are 8,000 facilities around the country, and you might say, well, you can't really have 8,000 generators. Well, some of them must be so small that the generators would not be expensive.
Of course you could have 8,000 generators. Of course you could. What? Oh, lads, this is gonna be a piss take. This is like an SNL sketch. You guys watch SNL, Saturday Night Live, the New York thing? You guys, this is like an SNL sketch. This is like Dumber and Dumber bouncing ideas off each other. Oh, shit. And for those saying as well that I stopped the video too much, I have to make these videos transformative, okay? The video has to be transformative, or else you could just go to Newstalk and watch their video. I'm trying to give my own input, you understand? And trying to push that message as far as I can.
To have on standby, and you run them every so often to make sure they're still functioning. I mean, that to me was shocking.
And that is the sort of learning that needs to go right back into the National Emergency Coordination Group on how we prepare for the increased frequency of these events in the future. But I do think it is important to say that we have now stepped up a very strong scaled effort across the country to restore power to people and to restore water to people. That number is coming down at a faster pace.
But when you hear all the stuff about individual hard cases,
for sure,
people who are looking across the road and they see lights on in the neighbour's house. They don't have lights and they need electricity, perhaps for the very basics of cooking and heating.
And I understand that frustration.
They have no fireplace anymore. They can't throw a few logs in the fire. Christina.
Yeah, Pat, I was there.
Well, thank God, we actually, forward-thinking household, we didn't have all this new DEI woke bullshit with the electricity stove and everything. We have a wood stove. Of course, we can throw turf in there from my dad's brother's bog or whatever. We get the good. This is the good Irish turf, lads, from out in Tuam or whatever, or from out there somewhere in the Galway countryside. But thank God we have that, guys, because some people don't even have that. Some people have electric homes. These are like theories that rich people, let's be honest, from the south side of Dublin come up with. They say, hey, what if we give all these poor people in rural Ireland fully electric homes? That will help reduce the carbon footprint. Even though, as Declan Ganley said, they're building 1,000 coal fires, 1,000 coal furnaces in China. The India's putting out a ridiculous amount of waste. I heard now in Africa they put out that the world's leader in plastic pollution. The USA, of course, have massive pollutants. Canada as well, massively. Mexico is huge. Ireland is such a drop in the ocean. We don't do anything. Even if we were to build 1 million coal power plants, it still wouldn't compare to any of the stuff that's going on in any other country. You understand? And I, for one, guys, unfortunately, I lost all my mincemeat. I just have basically mincemeat and rice every day. I lost like €30 worth of beef in this storm. That was my biggest loss, unfortunately. I couldn't put out any videos as well, which kills my business. So I lost probably like, €50 whatever in the storm. But I didn't lose too much. But what about people that lost their houses, okay? And then they can't build them back or whatever. The insurance won't pay out for them because it's an act of God. Let's just say there's a few farmers that have lost their fields and then they can't sell the land because the trees have been knocked over, and then it's an act of God. The insurance companies won't pay out. I think it's pretty insane, honestly.
Down in Roscommon, when the Taoiseach was down there earlier this week, and I was speaking to some people there in St. Bridget's GAA club, and they were saying that they have a generator for the floodlights for the pitch, but it's not connected to the clubhouse. So they were saying simple things could be that the generators...
Why does the government have to do that? Why can't they do that? Do you know what I mean?
I think they said that it would cost a good bit of money for every GAA
do we
club.
expect the government to do every single thing for us? If you've got a particular difficult situation, you're the only one maybe who knows about it.
But I don't think it's up to every GAA club to be planning for storms that are going to land on our shores. It's up to local authorities and it's up to government to be making these decisions and plans. And yes, I think it has to be said it's unprecedented, but we are being told by the Taoiseach that more severe storms are coming. So preparation.
How would they predict that as well? That's not a thing that you can predict. You can't predict the weather. Met Éowyn can't tell the time, let alone predict the weather, lads. Like, let's be honest.
Is going to be needed, like on the issue of the generators.
Unless they're creating the weather, which we all know about geoengineering and all that, guys. We all know they do that. So could be very possible. I'm not saying it's fully certain, but I'm just saying it's out there. They create clouds. This is all over the news media. I've said it in all my videos. They create air conditioning. They create these temperate climates. They create stuff like that.
There's a lot of focus was on why the orders weren't put in prior to the storm. We had James Bryan, Minister at the Department of Housing, now saying the assessment had to be done after the storm hit to see exactly what we needed. But the understanding is that I think 17 generators were coming from Denmark, Poland. I think a number of them landed during the week. More were meant to be coming from Luxembourg. The request was put in.
Luxembourg? What the hell? Denmark and Luxembourg were getting generators from. Why can't we order like 10,000 from the US or like some massive country that like we're great friends with? Oh, wait a second, I forgot. Or that manufacturer, like the US manufactures all that shit. Why, or like even England, like why can't we get a Brexit, I suppose, but or Germany, like why can't we get 10,000 generators from like a huge, like a big bulk load? We're getting like 14 billion or something from Apple. Like, bro, this whole country is just so screwed up, lads. You need like an Elon Musk, Department of Government Efficiency. You need like a Vivek Ramaswamy. You need, I know he's gone from Doge, but you need somebody to come in and like actually alter the entire government, because it's just gone down the toilet, lads. Honestly, like Luxembourg and Denmark. Like, why are we relying on countries that half the people in our country wouldn't be able to point out on a map? Like, honestly, like I don't even know where Luxembourg is. Like, what the hell kind of shit is this?
in on Saturday. But the department, the member states got back to the Department of Housing and said they needed a bit more information about voltage, the type of generators that were needed, and a response wasn't given by, according to the National Emergency Response, saying that the additional information was given over on Monday. So that's a 2-day lag in terms of when we're getting those generators shipped, when information needs to be fast and quick if we're in a very fluid emergency
I think I heard
situation.
the Taoiseach saying something that you can't really apply for help until you need help. You can't say, we're a bit worried about this red alert we've set up, therefore we want you to put your generators on standby for us. That's not the way it works in Europe. It's when you have damage, then they'll come to our aid, and we happen to be...
That's why Europe is shit, and a place like North America are striving because they're proactive. Okay, we're reactive in Ireland. A lot of people that are from Ireland understand this, lads. We're very reactive. If something bad happens, oh, let's get on it, like. But there's no preactive sort of like, or proactive. There's no proactive sort of, okay, we planning, this might happen. This is going to be bad now. If we don't prepare for this, you know, it could be bad, and then we don't plan for it, and then the shit hits the fan. Like, we should be planning like years in advance. You know the way they're all the electricity are on poles? Well, in Canada, when I was there for a few weeks, like, they're all underneath the ground. And although that costs a lot of money and it may take 5 to 10 years, let's invest long term in doing that, because then this will never happen again, where there's electricity down for, you know, 300,000 people. I think it was, 900,000 people had electricity lost. Like, it's just crazy shit. Like, we need to invest for the future, you know, not just think, oh, sure, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Like, come on, lads, like, let's start planning a little bit longer, you know, than just a few flipping weeks.
Be way off on the west coast of Europe,
yeah, but the point
so it's
is
harder for us.
That the damage was done on Saturday and that further details weren't supplied until Monday.
And I'd also say that the ESB are still, up until the middle of this week, we're still identifying areas where damage had been created that they weren't aware of as well. So I think we have to be a bit realistic here as well, that there are parts of the country that there's only repairs we're getting to that they wouldn't have seen the extent of the damage.
Criticising the ESB and the work that the people are doing on the ground. It's just, the questions deserve to be answered or asked about level of preparedness, and that's in no way to disparage the work that's going.
They do, and no one here is disparaging it, but ultimately that information comes from crews on the ground. I mean, we're not expecting departments and ministers aren't physically able to collect all that information. They're getting the information from the people who are on the ground, who are doing it. You've got to think,
if someone doesn't have a mobile phone connection, they have no power, and they're supposed to somehow, if they're, say, way off, halfway up a map, they're supposed to tell the ESP how. And the ESB won't necessarily know that there's a single flimsy wire down some boreen. They don't know that until somebody tells them.
I'll tell all my beautiful Irish loyal patriots and nationalists from my channel that follow me, because I'm getting so much love recently. What I would advise everybody to do is, Elon Musk has this thing called Starlink. Okay, Starlink is a free, like, sort of generated own Wi-Fi. Okay, it connects to the satellites in the sky, so you'll have Wi-Fi 24/7. So we're gonna buy it as well. It's €50 a month. Okay, flat €50 a month. And it's just as fast as fiber optic wire, but you can plug it in anyway. You can plug it into any plug in the world. You can use it in your car. You can set it up on the side of a mountain. You just lay this sort of dish. It's the size of a frying pan. You just lay it on the side of the road there, and then you just connect through your phone or through your laptop, and you have instant Wi-Fi. I would advise everybody in Ireland to get on Elon Musk's Starlink, okay, because that's going to be the future. This sort of having wires connected to your gaff, and then you know, we have one little tiny storm and the fucking internet's gone for 2 weeks. Those days are over, lads. Like, we need to properly, like, get actual, you know, internet that you can get constantly, and that's Elon Musk's Starlink. I'm not sponsored, I wish I was, but it's €50 a month. I mean, it's the same price that we pay for the internet right now. So getting something like that would be a forward thinking sort of idea, guys, to plug in anywhere in the world, you know, and go with it. You know, then you have Wi-Fi everywhere, not just in your house.
They cannot scour every inch of the grid in the wake of the storm.
And if I may here as well, Pat, it is easy for someone like me who represents the Dublin constituency to think that's how it should work. But ultimately, we know Dublin is a lot more compact. Yeah. It's a lot more densely populated. The wiring is a lot more evident. In rural Ireland, it's not. We have 165,000 kilometres of distribution network across the country. And we just have to have that perspective as well, that it does take a little bit of time to collect this information.
I think it'll be interesting to see where the conversation goes after this, because we have a lot of people talking about underground cables. And I remember covering extensively back in 2016, I think it was, EirGrid were doing a massive upgrade of the electricity system. And if people remember back then, there was a huge amount of protests about pylons that were turning up in different neighbourhoods around the country. And at the time, I think there was a lot of conversation about whether we could put all these cables underground. And EirGrid said at the time that it was going to cost about 2 billion to do something like that, and it would add 3% increase on the electricity bills of customers for the next 50 years. And that was sort of the thinking, you know, when you're talking nearly 10 years ago.
So 2 billion, I mean, we're getting 15 billion or whatever from Apple. So 2 billion, not that bad. I mean, I would definitely say to invest in something like that, because electricity is one of those things that's like non-negotiable. You need electricity for your food. Like I said, I lost 50 euro worth of beef, mince meat, you know, my favorite food. Do you know, like it's just, this is alpha male food. Masculinity food is beef, guys, right? So obviously, you know, these people eat vegan and soya. They eat soya options. For me, no, I don't eat soya. But yeah, like to invest the cables underneath the ground like they do in Canada and overseas is unbelievable. That's what they should be doing 100%.
Will that discussion need to be had now? Are willing, you know, how much of it costs? 2 billion back?
But if you've got someone who's, as I say, halfway up a mountain, and you want to put that cable underground, and it's only 2 wires to one farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere.
Lads, stop. This guy Pat Kenny is complete. I actually think he's just low IQ, and he's also intellectually dishonest. Who lives on the top of a mountain? Like, I know we have the burn and all that sort of, you know, like Connemara and stuff, but lads, that's like 3 people. There's like, you know what I mean? We're talking about the majority of Ireland just lives in normal land. Like, oh my God, this guy is so just low IQ, man.
I'm sorry, that's never going to happen. And that set of wires is always going to be vulnerable to high winds, to a tree falling, to a tractor running into a pole. It's always going to be vulnerable to that. But there has to be a reasonable cost benefit analysis.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that conversation will definitely be looked at, I think, over the coming months and year in terms of whether we're going to have more severe weather events. But I think ultimately we're not
going to have some more severe weather events, okay? I'm not trying to panic anyone. Everybody just relax. County Games will take care of you. There's not going to be any negative weather effects, okay? I promise you, all my loyal patriots. Don't listen to any of this scaremongering and propaganda. This is all just for you guys to buy more of their products and shit like that. So, yeah, enjoy your beautiful weekend. Hopefully everyone had a good bank holiday. Much love to everybody that liked the video the last time. I really appreciate the support. The love I've been getting over the last little while has just been unbelievable. The last 2 weeks has just been, the channel has just been taken off. So I really appreciate that. Share this with everybody. Share it on X as well, Facebook, all that good stuff. Wherever you guys want to. Send it to the lefties. Send it to the liberal people as well. I love for everyone to see these videos. I love the hate as well, guys. As long as people are watching the videos, you know, that's all I care about. I want to get the message out there as much as possible, educate people, help people, and hopefully, you know, change the nation's culture a little bit. I love you guys all. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to support me as well, link is in the description for my Patreon. You can buy some merch. You can donate to the channel. I can't do it without all of you. Thanks so much. Stay free, and I'll see you all in the next one, guys.